Hey everybody. Well, today we're going to be exploring some more patterns, and I do love this quote: "Bottomless wonders spring from simple rules which are repeated without end." And when I did this mandala, you can see that I just started, for example, with a circle and went all the way around and did circles. And then I added this little comma and went all the way around and did that. And then I added the dots, the little dots, and then the big dots in between. And I just made up a very simple repeated pattern that is really pleasing and beautiful to look at, I think. So today, in your sketch pad, I like to add just a couple more ideas for using circles and swirls. I'm working, of course, with a little bit of a disability, so maybe my result here is not quite as good as it could be, but here is an idea, which is a circle filled with small circles, and then in between all the little gaps and spaces, here's one I missed, you kind of fill in with a pen. So try that right now. Just do a small one. Draw a circle. It does not have to be perfect. You can see mine is not perfect. And then fill it with a variety of sizes of circles. So it's a little bit like this one, only it's contained in another circle. And then the other swirl I wanted to throw out for you to try is this one that reminds me kind of like a fountain or an organic growing plant you might see in the woods. And that starts with a stem that comes up and you form a little swirl, and then you kind of hook into that stem again and come out in a different direction with a swirl. And you just add as many as you like and as big and fat as you feel like doing. So try that one right now. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at triangles and rectangles. So I've done a few for you, starting with the triangles. You can see in this one where all I did was just very carefully, one side at a time, making sure I try not to overshoot and miss the corner. I did a few times, but I am not really up to 100% control of my hand yet. But the variety of sizes of triangles can create a pattern. Stacking triangles can create an interesting pattern to your mandala. And don't forget, they don't have to be right triangles. They can be other shapes. I can't remember the different names now. And I love this one, the way they fit together. Start with a big triangle and then fit on some of these small ones, or a kind of float three triangles on the side of one big one. These are just some ideas for creative ways to use the triangle. The important thing is to remember to draw each line one step at a time and be very careful with the corners. They don't have to be perfect. They can be a little wobbly, but the idea is to be mindful and to slow down and try to do as careful a triangle as you can. The next row here shows some rectangles and squares. Again, using a variety of sizes, you could create patterns with a rectangle square. You could continue that rectangle square. Here's a square within a square. You can see how I missed that connecting point there, and it's very important really to do that, the connecting. You can color in some parts, like I colored in this square, leave the rectangle not filled in. And then just taking a rectangle and trying some different designs to it. So this one has just a line coming in from this side, alternating with a line from the other side. Makes kind of an interesting pattern. And this one I did a zigzag and then filled in the triangles on the left-hand side. Here's a variation of a swirl, only done with corners. Has a very Greek kind of look. Here's another one that I found that I kind of liked. And then there's just the checkerboard, simple checkerboard. Can make a nice border. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to just copy those down so that you have some things to draw on. You know, when you can't figure out, oh, what should I put in my mandala next? You now have a page of circles and swirls and triangles and rectangles. And again, we're going to be, in a minute, we're going to look at working on these mandalas, starting from the inside and working our way out. So I'll give you a minute to do that. Okay, so now we're going to take a look at the beautiful watercolor circles that you worked on. Here are mine. I tried to use a variety of colors, and after I dropped my paint in, I cut them out, as you can see. And I am going to pick one to work on today, put the others aside. So this is the one that I'm gonna do. Maybe I can get a little closer here for you. Hopefully this will work. So I picked this one. I just kind of like the colors, and with everything that's been happening in our world, and some good news that we got yesterday, that there was we have a president-elect, and that allows all of us to breathe a sigh of relief, at least for a little while. So this one reminds me of the earth, and that's why I chose it. And I'm going to start working on this mandala by putting a word in the center of my mandala. It's a word that I'm going to meditate on as I choose different shapes, and starting at the center, work my way out to the outer edges. And the word that I'm going to put in is hope. And of course, I think many of us are feeling particularly that hope is an important thing right now in our world, and we want to have it and share it and build on it. So here's my word, hope. So I'm going to start by kind of thinking about coming around the center of this word with some of my shapes that we have gone over here. So let's see. I'm going to work on this for a minute, and then I'll be right back to share that with you. Okay, so what I've done is I've kind of went over the letters in hope to make them a little bit darker, and I decided that I wanted to surround it with this chain design that we have in our notes on circles and swirls. Just want to remind you that when you're making these, to turn your paper to make it easy for your hand to do that. And sometimes we forget that we're allowed to move the paper however we need to. So you can surround your word, and I encourage it. Well, I ask you to let's all meditate on this word, hope. Put our energy and our thoughts and into lifting up hope in the world. You can start with a chain if you want to. You can start with anything that you desire. The next step I'm going to show you is to add another layer around this, leading out. Now we're just kind of working toward leading out in this direction. a little bit at a time. So I'm going to add another layer, and then I'll come back and I'll show you what that is. Okay, so you can see how after the chain around the word hope, first I added some triangles. These were the first triangles that I added all the way around. And then I went in and I filled in triangles between them all the way around. Decided to add these swirls from the top of every other triangle. Did that. Then I put some circles in between the spaces between the swirls. Did that all the way around, and then added a stem to each one of them. And this is the idea of how you start at the center and you build your way out. And if you come up with any new ideas for these designs, we've just done circles and triangles and rectangles and swirls. Go right ahead and add them. But I wanted to show you how just drawing simple shapes that everybody knows how to do, you can do a beautiful mandala. I'm going to keep working on this, and I have to take a break for my hand, but then I'll be back, and maybe I might show you how to add even a little more color to it. So work on this and breathe deep and adjust your paper so that it's pointing in the direction that is most comfortable for you. And make sure your body is grounded in space and comfortable. Breathe one more time and begin. Well, I finished my mandala, and I just wanted to show you a few things that you might want to do when you get to the end. I took the watercolors and I filled in on top of existing color some of the shapes. So an example would be these, a lot of triangles. So these triangles right here, that one all the way around, I added some lime green on top. These I added a beautiful teal color on top of whatever was there. And I did the dots too. I did those in blue. And I like the way they came out. And then at the end I thought, oh, I want to make hope pop out a little bit. So right on top of what was there, I added some light red and got a little dark. So I took my paper towel and just blotted it. And I like the way it came out and how everything shows up. So there you go. I just wanted to give you an idea this time around. I think you'll totally get it now, how to make these beautiful mandalas by working from the inside out.